Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome once again to another session of Empowering Morning Conversation. And today, to start the conversation, I want to request you to share with me that what we discussed yesterday was something very powerful and useful and interesting if you start using it in life. So, what happened? What did you discover? Were you observing what we do every day? So, I'd love to hear you share something about that. Share your experience. We have a tendency to give our, reproduce the same knowledge in different words. So that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested to know what you realized, what insights you had, what did you do, and what did you experience. All right. So, would like to start. Yes, Neeti.
Yes, sir. Sir, yesterday's session was truly a fine combing because I don't think I realized how much of the attachment to the expectation is connect, the depth of that connect of attachment and expectation. And it's just made me a little more conscious, um, taking me back to be more on in the expansive state that when I'm in the expansive state, I don't experience the attachment. So that is helping me get out of attachments to my expectations. So it was very, very fine combing and finding a default that was interwoven very deep inside. Thank you.
So when you were able to give up your attachment to the expectation, what was it that you started observing, started to take place?
So I felt an enhanced experience of living in the moment.
More at ease with yourself, yeah?
Yes, ease. And like I took the condition, the situation as it is with no weights attached to it. There were no strings attached, no weights attached. And that felt good. It felt light. You do the task and it is over and you're done with, you move on.
Exactly.
There's no lingering and there's no carrying on.
Exactly.
That felt good. That
and
felt
no
very
worrying
nice.
about will it happen or not and will I get the result or not.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Reddy Garu and then Shakti Garu. Oh, sorry, Shakti ji.
Good morning.
Morning.
Sir, I used to have one expectation from one of the senior most officers of ISABU. Say, I think, and I was expecting that he's not responding properly to my emails or phone calls. And yesterday I met him in person. Then he's very quite open. He said, Mr. Reddy, I know your problems. I'll sort out all this during, give me some time. So earlier I was expecting him to respond to me immediately and get my problem solved. But now I'm quite open that yes, it will happen. I should not have more expectations from this particular gentleman. We sorted out yesterday, so that's what my experience.
Yeah. So what is how does it make you feel at the end of it?
I'm happy, sir. Otherwise, I was always complaining about him, saying that he never responds, because my expectations on him was like that. He has to give me an immediate response.
Good. So there is more ease.
Yes, sir.
That's the important thing, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Shakti.
Sir, for me, yesterday's session was eye-opener, and then it's a big reminder for me. After listening to the yesterday's conversations, when I was looking into my past, some of the experience, wherever I was feeling so heavy, it's a lot of attachments and expectations was there. Now I started looking into that with so much consciousness. I'm feeling so good, sir.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Good. So let's hear some other people also who are there on this call. There are many people. We have Kasha, we have Rama, we have Vetrivel, we have Kunain and Rama. Rama has logged in from 2 devices just to make sure that we know that he's there. And Sagar is there. So I'd love to listen to the rest of you also and find out what is it that you are now beginning to experience.
बड़ी खामोशी इतना सन्नाटा क्यों है भाई
कुछ लोगों को सन्नाटे से बड़ी तकलीफ होती है तो फिर कम से कम बोलते तो है ना फिर या वेट्री
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. My realization was I was able to distinguish between expectation and the intention, though we haven't touched the second part of it. It was just going on in my mind. And one thing came to my mind that expressing the expectation to the other party without mixing the emotion is, of course, it's the right thing, but I feel that it has to be achieved. It has to be kind of practiced, because all my things, if I look back, I expressed sometimes expectations, but I somehow attached my emotion to it, like kind of it is not going to happen, or I wanted something like that.
So if I express my expectation, they should fulfill it.
Yeah, and if I am able to distinguish that, or else just distill that emotion, and this is what I want, then there's a key to the magic. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, desire, not want.
Yeah, desire.
We have to throw out this word want and need out of our dictionary now.
100%. And just a quick share, sir. Yesterday, I had to drop one of friend to the airport, and there were 4 people in the car I was driving. I intentionally started this discussion without giving any preambles. What is the distinction between unrealistic expectation and expectation? So everybody was talking. We were having part 2 EMC in car yesterday. It was really a fun and useful session.
Very good. Thank you very much. Yeah, who else?
So let's say in a company or in running a company, how do we distinguish this? What kind of approach we should have towards our desire?
Look,
How
if in a work situation, there is a commitment. When you say when you pay your staff, right? Is he bound to, what is he paid for?
Yes, sir.
When you have a staff, what is your staff being paid for?
For the work, what they do.
No, they are paid to fulfill your expectations.
Yeah.
Is it not? I
Yeah.
will pay you this, and you have to do this.
Yeah.
So I promise to pay you so much money at the end of the month, and you will promise to deliver me this output. It's not an expectation. Expectation is when somebody has the right to do it or not do it. But if you're paying somebody to do something, he has to promise to do it, and he has to keep his promise. And you, as the man who wants the job to be done, better make sure that the promise is fulfilled. So if somebody needs some help to fulfill the promise, you provide it. If somebody needs some clarity to fulfill his promise, you have to provide it. Because you want to help that staff member to keep his promise to you. So what is your promise to the staff? I will pay you on time. I will give you a good working environment. So what is the promise that he has to make to you so that you can, or so that you will keep your promise to him. So for each person, it should be very clear, okay, look at, this is what you are supposed to do. So it's not an expectation, it's a clear directive. You want to get a salary, you have to keep this promise. Promise, come on time. Promise, put in full 8 hours of work. Promise, do your work 100%. Promise, I will produce X amount of result which has been communicated to me. So it's a promise, he has to fulfill it. But if you expect that he will fulfill his promise because he has made the promise, then also you have a problem, no? Sometimes people will fulfill the promise. Sometimes they feel they are unable to fulfill the promise. So sometimes they will keep the promise, sometimes they won't.
Yeah.
If he does not keep his promise to you, most of the time you will say, sorry, thank you very much. You are not keeping your promise to me. So I cannot keep my promise to you. I cannot employ you anymore. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. But in the meantime, you will work to make sure he is successful. Because if your staff member is successful, then you are also successful. So there are many things involved in it. If your expectation, in this case, when you're running a company, you want to produce results, right? So you have to elicit, get the promise from him. I'm going to pay you this much. What do you promise to do for me? I am promising you this. What are you promising me? Because you have the right to ask for that promise. However,
Sorry, sir.
however,
Yeah.
whether he's able to keep the promise or not, can he guarantee that?
Sorry, sir.
Shakti, can you repeat this for me, please? Maybe he can't hear my voice.
Sorry, sir.
So I didn't hear the last bit of it, sir.
That's why I'm asking Shakti to repeat it. So did you hear it, Shakti?
He was
Maybe she is traveling.
No, she's not.
No, what sir was telling Kashaji is that
Wait a minute, I never asked you to speak yet, Kunanji, hold on. Let us try and make Shakti ji successful. No? Otherwise, she'll say, I failed, so Kunan has taken over from me. Try to karne do.
okay.
Sorry, sir.
Shakti ka dhyan kidhar hai?
Because what happens many times when I'm interacting with somebody else, other people stop listening, thinking it's not relevant to me. See, if a discussion is happening in this, what shall I say, conversation, it is definitely relevant to everybody. Okay, so please do start listening. So what I said to Kasha is that somebody has made a promise to you. Can he always guarantee that he will fulfill it? Hello, Kasha, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
So if somebody has made a promise to you, can he always guarantee that he can fulfill it?
They're not fulfilling it, sir. That's
I
where
said, can they, listen to the question, can they guarantee that they will fulfill it?
No, they're not guaranteeing it.
They cannot. So if you expect them to guarantee it, then who's got a problem?
I've got a problem.
Right. If you expect them to guarantee it, you will not take the steps necessary to make sure that they are able to keep the promise. See, if I'm taking a promise from someone, right, I want to make sure that he's able to keep the promise. So if he needs help, I'll provide it. If he needs clarity, I'll provide it. Right? I'll be very aware. Do I need to remind him or not? And there are some people who are 100% dependable. And you know that they will keep their promise no matter what. They need less support. But when you have an expectation, it interferes, no?
Hmm.
So is that clear, or you need to understand more of it?
Hmm. No, I don't understand, sir.
You don't understand.
Yes, I don't understand.
Good, then tell me what you understood till now. You must
Um,
have understood something, no?
yes, sir. Like if someone can't promise what they can deliver, then there is a problem that needs to be addressed. And there are people who, when they promise and if they can deliver, they need lesser support or guidance.
No, that is correct, but not fully correct.
Okay.
So let's start at the beginning. You employ someone, you promise him, I will give you good working environment, I will pay you X amount of salary, right?
Hmm.
In return, you have to promise me A, B, C, D result.
Hmm.
So if he says, I cannot promise you, then you cannot give him the job.
Hmm.
So we'll obviously say, I promise you, sir, I will do it.
Hmm.
Yes or no?
Hmm.
So he has made the promise.
Yeah.
Now, if you have an expectation that he will fulfill his promise always, then you are in trouble.
Hmm.
Why are you in trouble?
Because there's the expectation.
Yeah. And you are so sure he will fulfill your expectation. And when he does not fulfill it, you will get upset.
Hmm.
On the other hand, if you have no expectation and say, all right, he's made a promise and he has an intention to fulfill that promise. Okay.
Hmm.
He may fulfill it, he may not. But if he has to fulfill his promise, what support he may require, what difficulties he may face.
Hmm.
Is he clear how to go about keeping his promise? All these questions will come in my mind, right? The problem is when I have an expectation, then after that, I'm not thinking.
Hmm.
I'm not even thinking that am I asking him to make a realistic promise or not?
Hmm.
Have you understood this? No.
And it's still
So,
sleeping.
so you mean to say I'm giving an unrealistic kind of expectation I'm setting?
No, I'm not saying that you are. I'm
Okay.
saying that if you have an expectation, you will never think more about it. That the man has made a promise. Is he clear what is the promise he is making? Will you check it? If you are having expectation, you will not check all these things. You will say he has promised, so he should fulfill his promise. That's called expectation. And he better fulfill it. If he doesn't fulfill it, I'll fire him. But if you don't have an expectation, if you do not have an expectation, what will you do?
Will be in allowance, sir.
Not sure, but what will you do by being in allowance?
We'll ask them what is the issue, why you can't achieve the.
No, before only when the time when you at the moment he gives the promise. At that moment, what will you ask him?
Will you be able to deliver this?
Yeah, of course he will say definitely, sir. He doesn't want to say no to the boss, no? Then what you will ask him? Are you clear what is the result to be given? You will ask him, no? Can you explain to me what promise you have made just now and how you will fulfill that promise? You will ask him, do you expect any difficulties to come? Don't come and tell me afterward this problem came and this problem came. Right? Do you expect any difficulties to come? Then he will answer you. Or he may say, I don't know, sir, when the difficulty comes, I will know. That also he can say, no? Then what you'll say, when a difficulty comes, you will come and tell me immediately. So I can help you to overcome the difficulty. See, when you don't have an expectation, then you have a commitment also.
Hmm.
When you're in allowance, you can make a commitment. That there is a man who has made a promise to me,
Hmm.
and in life it is not easy to keep the commitment or promise. So if he requires any help, let me start right now the process to ensure that he keeps his promise. See, for
Hmm.
that we have to communicate.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
See, I'll give you an example. I asked you, are you coming for the COP program? You said yes,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yeah.
And I said, have you registered? You said yes.
Hmm.
Okay. So I was
Hmm.
expecting if he's saying yes, means he must have registered and paid also.
Hmm. Hmm.
And because I was expecting that, I didn't ask you, have you paid?
Hmm. Hmm.
And yesterday I got to know you're asking, how do I pay for it?
Hmm. Hmm.
If I had not got that expectation, I would have asked you some questions, no, to help you.
Hmm. Hmm.
And of course, you are also very great in communication. You gave me half information. That is what people do also in life, no?
Sorry, sir.
Okay, now somebody tell him here. Kunen, you tell him what I said.
No, the last bit, half
I know.
information.
You always have this default mode of sorry, sir.
Hmm.
Kunen, explain to him what I just said. The last bit.
No.
You actually heard it, no, Kasa?
So I heard it, sir, but the last bit,
Try it out. I bet you heard it and you understood it also, but you're doubting it.
yes, sir, there is doubt. That's why I'm asking, sir.
But what did you hear? You tell me that, no?
So you said only the half has been communicated.
Yeah. And that is what people do in life also.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
It's like, I asked Vetrivel, how was the program? Very good, sir. Then I have to ask him, how many people were there, sir? 4 people were there. Very good. Then I have to ask him, anybody whom I know? Yes, sir, 1 person. People don't volunteer information, no? But if you have to help someone, if they are not saying, you see, when you are a boss, right? You are owner of the company. Somebody has made a promise to you,
Hmm.
right? He feels compelled to make that promise, no?
Yeah.
If I want this job, I better make a promise.
Hmm.
Now, at that moment, he's not thinking, how will I keep this promise, no?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
You know how people are, no? Without thinking, they make promise.
True. True.
Now, if you have an expectation,
Hmm.
will you give it more thought on this topic? Okay, he will fulfill his promise or not? Your
No.
mind will say, okay, he has promised, so he must fulfill it. I expect him to fulfill it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if you don't have an expectation,
Hmm.
then you are in allowance, correct? And you're very clear, he may fulfill. It's not so easy to keep the commitments. So you'll ask him, do you need any help? Are you clear? What is the promise you have to keep? Do you know how to do this? Do you need any training, coaching? Do you need any inputs? Do you need support? Do you need some materials? If you have a difficulty, what will you do? How will you sort it out?
Hmm. Hmm.
So now it is no longer an expectation. He now knows that there is a commitment also, that my boss has a commitment to make me succeed.
Hmm.
Now, is the chances of his keeping his promise more or less?
Hmm.
So no, who? My answer is yes or no. If you do like this, the chances of keeping his promise are more or less.
Is less, sir.
No, if you are asking him questions and supporting him, then
Then it's more. Yes, sir.
that's what I'm talking about. But if you simply have an expectation, then the chances of that expectation getting fulfilled are less or more.
Less, sir.
That's what I'm saying. So that's the problem with an expectation.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right? Vetrivel was explaining very nicely. When you have an expectation, normally we don't even communicate clearly what our expectation is.
Hmm.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes we have expectation, we never even told the other person what expectation.
Hmm. Hmm.
That also happens.
Mhm.
So it's a beautiful question you ask because it's very useful for senior people or people who are handling teams or managers or owners. And in fact, even with any other person also,
Mhm.
somebody makes a promise, there are better chances it will be fulfilled.
Mhm.
So it is a good question. Look, I expect this from you. Great. Or rather you can say, I desire that you should do this and this and this. The person says, I will do. Then you can ask him, are you promising me or you are just saying?
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, that there is something that you desire and you want it to be fulfilled. If that is the case, then you better make sure that it gets fulfilled.
Mhm.
Simply by saying, now you are in a company, right? You own the company. Many times you remember you would have told someone, I told you to get this thing done. Have you done it? He'd say, I told Mr. Shanmugam, sir. Hello, are you a postman? I told Mr. Shanmugam, I'm not asking you who you told or who you not told, but did the job get done? I told you because I want you to get the job done. Did you do the job? But people will answer, no, sir, I told that fellow. I told that fellow, sir. But is the job done?
Mhm.
How many times we will tell you, I told that fellow, sir.
Mhm.
I told my clerk, sir, to make that statement, sir.
Mhm.
But where is the statement?
Mhm.
So when you stop expecting, you may discover that you're doing more and you're getting more done also from the people. Okay?
Mhm.
So good. Thank you very much for helping me to clarify so many things to so many people. Thanks a ton.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Ramagaru.
Sir, good morning. So
Morning.
when I don't have expectations, my frustration and stress levels go down. So
Absolutely.
that's a major thing.
Yep.
Also, in expectation, there are two parts to that. One is what to expect, and expecting how it is getting done. So if my expectation is more on how it is getting done, it is much more worse. So let the other person do the way that
Whichever way he wants to do it. Yeah.
is comfortable with. Yeah. So if I think that it has to be done only this way, it's much more worse for that person. In
As
addition,
well as for you.
yeah, right. So what to do? What is the expectation? That is okay. At least this is what is the overall expectation. This has to get done.
Yeah.
And the
you
other
can
one
ask,
is
you can ask that person, how do you want to go about it? You can
yeah,
ask.
yeah, right. Of course, yeah. That is where this what you discussed so far. On by default, what we do is the moment I say expect something, I pass the responsibility to that person, and I don't own it.
Exactly.
What is required is it has to be shared responsibility.
Yeah. No, if it is my job,
Yeah.
which I'm getting done from another resource, I
Right.
have to take total responsibility for it.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, full responsibility, at least shared responsibility. I cannot just completely leave it to that person thinking that he or she will come and ask me what is it, how to do, or whatever the clarification they will come and ask. They will not.
They may or they may not.
Yeah, they may not. So I think that is what we typically do. Okay, this person is, I told to do this. So any clarification, that person will come and ask. That is because we do give away the complete responsibility.
Yeah. We don't even tell him that, listen, when the job is done, you please come and tell me.
Right.
If it is not done also, please come and tell me.
Right.
Because we are expecting that he'll do it,
Yeah.
That's where the expectation is a big killer. So if I don't have an expectation, then I'm left with, hello, do I really desire it? And if I do, then what am I doing to make sure that the desire is fulfilled?
Right.
Beautiful. You really got it.
Thank you.
I think you have made it more clear for CASA now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so who else? Yes, Kunen.
Thank you, sir. I think it was a great conversation and a great realization.
Thank you for your appreciation, sir.
Just a question, sir. Sometime out of respect to elders or some seniors, I don't get into this kind of questioning or finding out kind of things. Out of respect, you can say. So
what is the assumption over there?
Like the person is serious, mature, he will understand what was promised or what is expected. So in that way, I don't communicate, I expect. So that is mainly happened with the senior members in the company. So is it okay to ask questions or, you know?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can ask it in a manner that is not disrespectful. So let's say the man is the senior person in age and experience. You can always say, excuse me, Mr. So-and-so, just for my own mental satisfaction, I wanted to ask you a few clarification questions. Is that okay? Nobody minds asking clarification question. There's another way of asking also. I am not very sure whether I communicated my expectation to you clearly or not. So can you tell me, sir, what you have understood? So that if it is not correctly explained by me, I can explain it again. And this can genuinely happen also, no?
Yeah, it happens. Thank you, sir. Got it.
But इसमें एक और चीज होती है, by the way. Our own assumption that I have communicated clearly, that will also be checked. You get to recheck, ना मैंने बोला तो ये है, has he understood what I said or he has understood something else? There is nothing disrespectful about it. In fact, I think it is more respect. See, I think it also happens. I'm good. I think I'm happy you asked this question. Sometimes, you know, when more senior or respected people, they are conveying their expectation to us. वो बोल रहे और हम सुन रहे. And because of respect, we will not ask for clarification. Now, how many people, you know, they will assume, अरे सर से पूछेंगे ना तो सर गुस्सा हो जाएंगे, सर सोचेंगे कि मैं गधा हूँ.
Yeah, it happens.
So then we keep quiet and then we go and ask other people, sir had told this. Then somebody else will give you his interpretation of what sir has told. Sir is not, that fellow is not even there. वो था भी नहीं वहाँ. उससे जाके पूछ रहे यार वो सर कैसे बोल रहे हैं, क्या करूँ? I mean, actually, I've seen this happening in my office once upon a time. So I asked that fellow, तू उससे पूछ रहा है, ठीक है? वो था क्या उधर जब मैंने समझाया था? So that fellow never knew that I was hearing that, you know. He had just gone outside my cabin and he was talking to that fellow. कि सर ने ऐसे बोला है, अब क्या करूं? Then I heard it. I said, तू उससे क्यों पूछ रहा है क्या करूं भाई? वो तो वहां था भी नहीं. मेरे से पूछना, नहीं समझ में आया तो. नहीं सर, मैं क्या तेरे को मैं गधा नहीं समझूंगा. डोंट वरी. अगर मेरे समझाने में गलती हो गई है, मैं ठीक से समझा दूंगा. तो मुझसे पूछना. और आगे से जरूर आया करना मेरे पास. And it sort of similar case, you know, because he was a guy with some 25 years experience more than me. A real old guy. He was a guy who had taken retirement and I had re-employed him. He was an army officer, brigadier level guy. And he was a good friend. So I had taken him because he was bringing in a lot of administrative experience and his connections with the government and all that, you know. तो मुझसे तो बड़े ही थे ना उम्र में. Plus I respect army people quite a lot. तो मेरे लिए awkward भी हो सकता था ना कैसे पूछना.
Yeah, got it, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Yes, Abhinav ji, you are showing yourself. So do you want to share something today?
But not till now. You know, so many memories are being stirred. You know, one sentence and I'm into my own word, another sentence I'm into another word. Then I have to come back to these. I'm listening while we share. But you know, your interaction with Casa was great, because not only from the point of view of the owner of the company, even from the even from the point of view of our employee. You know, it's always the interaction about working on the expectations part, and I remember in companies with better HR, you know, they work on the expectations part. You know, at the time of interview, like in my company, what is expected from the person? Like if I am taking interview of a person, they will actually send me a sheet. What is the expected performance from the person? When so at least Casa is clear about what is expected from the person, But most of the companies don't even know what to expect, what they expect from the person. And so if the owner has a thinking, whatever the employee does is less, whatever the employee does is less, whatever the employee does is less, and then he's bound to fail. And then there are certain employees who will think whatever the owner does for me is less. What the employer does. So actually, that is what happens in most of the companies. People are not even clear about their own expectations. But at least CASA spoke about them. Thankful to CASA.
Yeah. So at the time of joining, if you tell them clearly, boss, this is what you can expect from the company and no more.
Yes.
If you want to work, you work. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Yeah.
A lot of times the HR people make big promises, no?
Yeah.
देख लेंगे increment के time में देख लेंगे. We will see at the time of your appraisal. We will see. Now they've planted an expectation.
Yeah.
है ना?
Yeah. And फिर क्या? What efficiency will come out if the employee keeps on thinking I've been cheated, or the employer keeps on thinking that he has been cheated by the employee? What will be the relationship and what will be the performance?
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you very much. All right. So before I leave you for the day, I want you to have a thought. Listen, if somebody wants to help you, okay? And he says, and then you tell him, hey, you really want me to help you? What will the person say? Yeah, I definitely want you to help me. Tell me what should I do? And then you tell him what to do. Okay? And that person is now questioning you. How do I know if I do this, it will happen? Tell me more clearly. I am not able to understand what you are telling. Okay? Then you tell them, okay, here is this, you read it. They read it and they say, no, this is too vague, Unless I understand clearly what it is, I'm not going to do. Now you're thinking, I want to help this person. They asked me to help them. So I told them, you do this, it will help you. You get it? This is like going to the doctor and saying, doctor, you please treat me. Then doctor writes the medicine. And you tell him, no, first you explain how this medicine is going to help me, right? Which part of the anatomy it is, what is the absorption rate? You please explain to me, right? I am not convinced that this medicine will work. So I'm not going to take the medicine. Then what is the doctor going to do? Now, have you noticed that we do something like this many times in many different ways with many different people? So sometimes I'm thinking you are making and expressing your desire to the universe. And when the universe is trying to fulfill your desire, you will be questioning it. How do I know this will work? Prove to me that it will work. I will do it only 100% guarantee of success. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. So we will even tell this to God, I suppose. Say, God, you are saying you want to help me. Prove me how you will help me. What will God say? He'll say, Baba, you go and get help wherever you want, then don't come to me. Isn't it? So I want you to look at this. I mean, what kind of mechanism is it? Is it judging? So if you are asking somebody to help you and support you, how come you are assuming that you know more than him, how he can help you? Are you willing to trust somebody's knowledge and expertise or not? Okay, so how many times we are blocking contribution to our own life by this kind of an attitude? Yeah. So is it clear what I'm asking or what I'm saying? That the world is waiting to contribute to you and people are willing to contribute to you. How are you blocking it with this kind of thinking? And what is the name will you give to this kind of thinking? So you don't have to say anything now. What you have to do is you have to listen to the Shairi of Kunain Saab, and if Kuldeep ji is there, you have to listen to that and you can think about this topic later on. All right. So Kunain, I think you are the lone ranger today. The other poet is missing.
Oh, poetry.
Matlab Shairi.
Shairi. हाँ, चलिए सुनाता हूँ। अर्ज क्या है कि बहल बहल तो जाएगा उसके वादे से मेरा दिल, लेकिन बहल तो जाएगा उसके वादे से मेरा दिल, लेकिन चलेंगी पानी पे कागज की कश्तियां कब तक?
So can you repeat that? बीच में we lost the signal.
ओके, कहा है कि बहल तो जाएगा उसके वादों से मेरा दिल, लेकिन चलेंगी पानी में कागज की कश्तियां कब तक?
Wow. Now this is a beautiful one. So my heart will feel very happy listening to somebody's promises. But how long will a paper boat last in the water?
Yeah.
I mean, it evokes a lot of thinking. It's very powerful. I hope people got it. Many would have gotten it by now. That is the thing about poetry, you know, it evokes. You don't have to explain it. Great. Thank you so much, Kunain. Or anybody, before we leave today's session, anybody wants to say something, ask something, let's do it. We've got about 15 minutes to do all that. Otherwise, we'll say bye-bye to you for today.
Yeah, Sudhir, I'm thinking about the expectations, you know, matching our expectations, even at the time of marriage. You know, people don't do it. People are not clear about what are they expecting. And therefore things go wrong.
Yep.
Many times, not all the time, sometimes things go wrong. I remember, you know, mine was an arranged marriage. So I was almost, my marriage was fixed with the air hostess.
Ooh.
So almost it was fixed. And then one day she asked me, I think, do you expect your wife to stay at home or do you want your wife to work? I said, I expect my wife to stay at home.
Finished.
And then the marriage broke off, finished.
Naturally.
It felt sad, but I'm happy about it.
Manika, with that one sentence,
Yeah.
you destroyed all your great aspirations to marry an air hostess.
Yes. But I'm glad.
But at least you told the truth, no?
Yes, I told the truth, yeah.
And at the same time, how many years of your life you spent in comparing and regretting that you married this woman?
Not really. I did not.
Really.
I'm so happy that I spoke the truth. So I felt bad temporarily. And I was being very judgmental कि कैसी दुनिया हो गई है आजकल, type, you know, कैसे लोग हो गए हैं. But now when I look back, I'm very happy.
Yes.
For me and for her also.
Yeah. See, so in a job interview or in a marriage interview, it's better to tell the truth and say clearly what you expect.
Yeah. And Sukhdev, you know how fond I am of traveling all over the world.
Yeah.
So that's why, yeah.
नहीं, वो तुम्हारे अरमान ट्रैवलिंग करके पूरे हो जाते हैं ना?
हो जाते हैं, हाँ. So I'm traveling. So I travel all the time. Yeah.
Exactly. So you want a wife to stay at home and serve you
and give me free
travel all over the world. Interesting, isn't it? घर पे बैठो, मैं travel करूँगा.
No, at that time actually my mom was, as you know, my mother was a heart patient.
Yeah, I remember.
So, you know, so that was the reason that you know, my dad was doing well in his career. I was doing reasonably well in my career. I thought we will go for a wife who stays at home
and look after my
because
mother.
finances were, look after the mother and look after the home, because finances were not an issue at that time.
Yeah, I got it. Good. Thanks for sharing, Abhinav.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay.
Just a quick
I
one.
want to ask something.
Priya, बोलिए. Priya Madha.
आप कह रहे थे कि जो आपके bosses होते हैं, you know, they are there with a commitment. So how जो junior, the person like me, उनको कैसे पता चलेगा कि how committed he is?
मैंने तो कभी भी नहीं कहा कि the boss is committed or not. ये कौन सी conversation
मतलब
चल रही है?
promise कि हम आप अपना काम करो, वो हम प्रॉमिस करेंगे कि आपको जो भी काम हमने दिया है वो पूरा होने में जो भी हमारा सहयोग चाहिए आपको वो मिल जाएगा, ऐसे।
हाँ, तो आपका
ऐसे-
बॉस वही कर रहा है ना, जब वो करता है आपको अच्छा नहीं लगता है।
हाँ, तो मुझे तो समझ नहीं आता ना। आई गेस मैं एक्सपेक्ट कर रही हूँ वो थोड़ा नरमी से बता दे या सामने से डायरेक्टली कि दिस इज हाउ आई एम गोना हेल्प यू आउट।
मतलब आप
वैसे
डॉक्टर को
तो-
बोल रहे हो इलाज भी करो मगर इंजेक्शन मत लगाना, कड़वी दवाई भी मत देना, अगर मेरे को चोट लगे तो वो उस पे स्टिचेस ना लगाना, उससे दर्द होती है।
पर हम ऐसे भी बोल सकते हैं ना, स्टिचेस लगाऊंगा थोड़ा सा दर्द होएगा भी पे।
राइट, सो वो आपकी
नहीं।
एक्सपेक्टेशन है ना।
हाँ है वो।
तो एक्सपेक्टेशन का मतलब थोड़ी है कि सब लोग आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशन पूरी करेंगे, कुछ करेंगे कुछ नहीं करेंगे। You can have a desire, that's why we say distinguish between desire and expectation. If you have a desire, communicate it. They may fulfill the desire, they may not. When you are born, nobody promised you, na, we will always fulfill all your desires.
When I want to promise, yeah, sorry.
I said when you are born, जब आप पैदा हुई थी,
हाँ,
did people promise you that we will always fulfill your desires?
नहीं।
नहीं ना? So you can
नहीं।
only communicate your desires. पर हमारी प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि हमारी फिर एक्सपेक्टेशन हो जाती है इनको पूरी करनी चाहिए, मैंने बता दिया तो उनको करना चाहिए। जब नहीं
उनकी
करते आप
नजर है
तकलीफ
ना।
में आ जाते हो। तो कहीं भी नहीं लिखा ना, इट्स एन अनरियलिस्टिक एक्सपेक्टेशन। ये एक्सपेक्ट करना कि सब लोग मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशन फुलफिल करते रहेंगे, दैट इज अनरियलिस्टिक ना।
आई गेस मेरे को फिर ये पता होना चाहिए कि ये मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशन है या मेरा डिजायर है।
नहीं, जब डिजायर के साथ अपनी अटैचमेंट लगा देते हो कि ये तो होना ही चाहिए, ये तो पक्का होना चाहिए, फिर आपकी प्रॉब्लम है। अगर आपकी डिजायर है और आप अपना काम करना शुरू कर दो उस डिजायर को पूरा करने के लिए, फिर अगर होना होगा तो हो जाएगा। कर्म किए जाओ, फल की चिंता मत करो, याद रखो,
राइट,
है ना?
मैं काम करूंगी।
राइट।
तो मैं कर रही हूँ और ध्यान से करूँ।
हाँ, अभी मैं पब्लिकली तो नहीं तुम्हारे काम खींचने वाला, बाद में खींचूंगा। All right.
Thank you.
So good. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you tomorrow morning for another session of Empowering Morning Conversations.
Thank you, sir. Stay safe and stay blessed.
You too, all of you.
Thank
Thank you.